It's a disgrace, and they know it too. They know it, and they've been caught. You watch Arizona. Take a look at what's going on in Arizona. It's a very, very important state right now because you have a patriotic, great patriots in the Senate, Republican patriots, and they are going through the ballots. And we're going to have to see what happens because they're doing a forensic audit like nobody's done. And I predict, based on the initial findings, you saw. I don't know if you saw yesterday. The head of the Senate, the Arizona Senate, wrote a letter, and it's a very strong letter. Now, it's not determinative yet,
right?
Because they didn't mention everything, but they mentioned some things that were really, really bad. And I will tell you that if that happens, we will have won that state by a tremendous amount. But we have to wait for the final result. I would say this: stay tuned for Arizona. And also watch what's going on. Take a look at what's going on in New Hampshire. Take a look at what's going on in numerous states. But a lot of people are watching Arizona, and you're going to see, we need two states.
Yeah.
3 small ones, I guess, but two states. And when you look at what took place in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh, when you take a look at take a look at Pennsylvania. Take a look at what took place in Detroit, Michigan. How corrupt.
It was
they
a
more
sin.
Votes than they had voters.
And I've talked to Rudy Giuliani several times. He's a friend of mine, as you know, and he told me he's got affidavits. And Mr. President, affidavits are evidence. So the idea that courts kept saying you didn't have evidence is a lie. Yep. He's got hundreds, if not thousands, of signed, notarized, sworn to affidavits, and not one of those people has been charged with perjury. So obviously they're not being called liars. So what's the recourse? The people always ask me when you talk to President Trump, ask him, "What if you get Arizona? What if you get Georgia and Pennsylvania? What if something happens where we find out there were irregularities that could be fixed? They can't uncertify the election. What happens?"
Well, the other thing, they never got approval from the state legislatures. So without even talking about the dead people that voted, they had thousands and thousands of dead people that voted.
Right.
And these are confirmed. I mean, this is all confirmed through obituaries and everything else. They had people, they had illegal immigrants that voted. They had people that voted that shouldn't have voted without even going. And by the way, all totally determinative. In other words, a big win in the state with those people. But forgetting even about that, they didn't get the approval from the state legislatures. And the Constitution says you have to get the approval from your state legislatures.
And that's the supreme law of the land.
Well, that's it. And then the Supreme Court didn't have the courage to take the case. The whole thing is a disgrace. And okay, so let's say that numerous of these states come in, starting with Arizona, but there'll be others. And many of them are looking at it very, very powerfully right now. And many of them are Republican legislatures. So let's say that happens. It's going to be a very interesting time in our country. It's going to be a very interesting time. You understand what that means because it will be, how do you govern when you lost? How do you govern when you lost? So
it's a great question.
We'll have to see. I say this. Number one up is Arizona, and that's going to be, according to what they say, within the next 4 weeks. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's the former